Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. Relax, kick up your feet as we get into this week's read. Tonight we'll be reading Loving Topaz, a novella by James Colwell. Head on over to Amazon.com. Download your books today. Come and support our authors. But we're going to get into this book. Loving Topaz. Tell a friend to tell a friend and then tell their friends. We over here reading, y'all. But let's get into this book. Are you ready? Shh. Good evening. And welcome back to Almond Delights Reading Corner. Well, we will continue our read of Loving Topaz, a novella by yours truly, Mr. James Colwell. I know we've been gone for quite a week. It's only been a week. But I know y'all missed the read, so we're going to be back here once again for our reading. So hopefully you guys got your books. If you don't have your book, just sit back, relax, and, get into this read. Okay? So a little recap of what happened last week. We know that Mr. Waleed, which is Topaz's mother's boyfriend, for lack of a better word, he had his way with Topaz. And so Topaz is a 16-year-old boy. And they had their way with each other. And then they had to go back to his mom's house. And, she was all crying to her boyfriend, not knowing that her boyfriend had just slept with her son. So we're going to get to that. But we know that Topaz's brother was killed. And so that's why she was crying and everything like that. So thank you guys for the compliments. I love you guys. But we're going to start. We're on chapter 5. And when I tell y'all chapter 5 is so long, so I don't know if we're going to do 2 chapters this week. We will see. But chapter 5 is over 20 pages long. So we'll see. I know you know we wasn't here last week or whatever, and I might owe y'all another chapter, but we'll see how long it takes for us to go through these 20-something pages. Okay? Chapter 5. Funeral Festivities. The process of putting together the funeral was a really draining experience for my mom, which kind of took a toll on Waleed as well. He was right there by her side every step of the way. Waleed didn't really have any specific feelings towards Edward. He didn't have an issue with him, though he knew that Ed didn't want him with our mom. But like I said, Waleed really stepped up like he should have to help Mom through this time. The person that had the most problems with this situation was Trianne. Her and Ed were very close. I thought at one point she was going to lose her mind. She would be crying and then she would start babbling on and you couldn't really understand what she was saying. I just kind of stayed clear of her. I didn't want to give her any reason to snap on me. It seems like I'm always a sitting duck for her kicks and punches when anything is wrong. Pause. Disclaimer, there would be cussing. There may be other activities in this book that, Almond Brown might not necessarily say, but heavy on the disclaimer and cussing. Okay? I did notice that Waleed was really helpful with her as well. He would catch her in her collapses, and there were many. He would also talk her in the midst of her babble, telling her that Ed is in a better place now, and it hurts for us now, but it will get easier. That we just need to hold tight to each other at this time. She would actually calm down when he dealt with her. Nobody else could seem to get through to her. That's not surprising though. He has such a soothing effect to his voice and his mannerisms. He just draws you in and you feel safe. Wally did manage to make time for me as well. I kept telling him that I was okay. He said I was making him nervous because I wasn't really showing a lot of emotion, and I usually am so emotional, but I didn't feel like they did. I didn't feel a need to fall out on the floor. I was sad, but that's about as far as it went. I had so many other things on my mind. I was feeling so guilty about the situation with me and Waleed. The strange thing is, it didn't seem to be bothering him at all. Could all the things he said be true, and he is just so into me that his conscience is untapped? I have a hard time believing it all. I think he's just busy dealing with Mom and hasn't had time to deal with his guilt for these last 2 days. This evening will be the viewing of my brother's body, and then tomorrow will be the funeral proceedings. I'm really sick of this whole process. All the hugs and kisses and people over at our house. The house had been full every night. I spend a lot of time in my room. I've been mostly talking to JJ and ducking calls from Mike. Periodically, Waleed does stick his head in and blows kisses and such. Which just keep my mind spinning. I don't know why, I just can't shake him off. I would love to tell JJ about my current situation, but I know I have to sit this out on my own. I got myself dressed and looked over at the clock. It was 4:22 p.m. We were planning to leave at 4:30. I had on a white button-up shirt with a black tie and black slacks with a pair of Stacey Adams loafers. I looked about as masculine as possible for me. Naturally, this is all stuff that my mom had picked out. I looked at the boring outfit and said, "Goodbye, Eugene. Hello, Topaz." I hurried and changed my shirt to a really sharp black fitted button-up shirt that Mike had made me with the matching tie. The fabric had a slight hint of shimmer to it, and you can see through it if you look really closely. It wasn't overly feminine, but it did have a hint of couture to it. I went back to the mirror quickly to take in my look and said, now that's better. Looking good always lifts my spirits, because God knows I was really all crapped out on fake smiles this week. I needed a little something to help me through this fiasco. I ran down the steps and met everyone at the door. The first eyes that sat on me was my Uncle Joe. He said, "That's what I'm talking about. You look sharp as hell, Nell. You got that shit down." Shit. I smiled and said, "Thanks, Unc." My mother looked back at me and said, "That is not what I had out for you to wear. Go change that shit right now." I looked at her and said, "Nah, Ma. It can't happen today. This is what I'm wearing and ain't nothing wrong with it." She turned around and marched toward me screaming, "Who the fuck are you talking to? I said change that shit right the fuck now before I beat that shit out of you." I stood still in my spot. For some reason, I was so unbothered by her display. I stood my ground and said, "Mom, if you can give me a good reason why this shirt and tie is not okay, I'll change it. But if not, I like it and I'm wearing it." She said, "I'll give your bitch ass a reason, motherfucker." She grabbed me by my tie and punched me dead square in the mouth twice. I was in shock. I don't know what hurt more, the hits or the comment. A hush fell over the room. I could immediately feel my top lip beginning to swell. Everyone was just standing around looking. I was so embarrassed, but that emotion faded quickly and turned into immense anger. I did not move. I just stood there staring at my mother, to which she said, "Oh, motherfucker, you still ain't gonna take that faggoty bullshit off? I'll fucking kill you, standing in my face looking at me like you want to do something to me. You fucking bitch." She grabbed hold to my shirt and began to tear into the fabric. You can hear it ripping as the fibers dug into my skin. I was trying to get loose from her grip when I heard Trianne yell out, "Fuck that faggot up, Ma! I'm sick of him always embarrassing us. I'm sick of it." And within seconds, I felt like I was reliving the 4th of July. I was back on the floor being beaten and choked yet again. Only difference was, this time, it was my mom and it was on the living room floor. I heard Waleed yell out, "Tree, no!" But before he could get to us, chairs had been knocked over and the lamp had been overturned. The family members were scattering like roaches when the lights are turned on in the middle of the night. My Uncle Joe moved like the wind. He grabbed my mom off of me as I was crawling trying to get away from her. I could never hit my mom. I just wanted to get away from her. She had a death grip on my tie and was choking me big time. As my uncle was getting her off of me, Trianne had come around and got into the scuffle. She was screaming at my uncle to let go of my mom. Waleed dropped to his knees on the floor and put his hands in between my neck and the grip my mom had on the tie, which loosened the pressure. It's a good thing I felt like I was getting ready to pass out. As Waleed and my Uncle Joe got my mom off of me, Trianne took her high heel and stumped me in my back and then kicked me in the head and yelled, "I fucking hate you, you dick-sucking faggot." Whew. I can't explain the next moments. All I know is the wind that my Uncle Joe was moving with got underneath him, and all I saw was Trianne fall to the floor with an incredible, deafening thud. Okay. She was totally taken off guard by the blow she received, but she jumped up quickly and charged at my uncle. It was an unsuccessful lunge. Within seconds, he had a death grip around her neck and just held her still while choking her. She couldn't move. The room was at a standstill once again. Everybody knows that my Uncle Joe is not to be fooled with, and no one was willing to jump on him. They all began begging for him to let her loose. My mom was screaming and crying to my grandma, "Mama, make him stop! Make him stop!" Why? My grandma yelled, "Joseph Ballou, take your hands off of her, now!" He never took his eyes off of Trianne. His eyes were so empty and scary looking. Then he said, "You fucking little bitch. I told you in the past to keep your motherfucking hands off my baby, didn't I? Yeah, and I heard about that shit you did the other day. And now it's time to pay. Bitch, you like showing out? Show the fuck out on me. Bitch, I'll rip your motherfucking throat out." I'm sorry, but oh, the cousin child, Uncle Joe. Dude, Jesus. Waleed leaped up and stood very close to my uncle and said, "Joe, man, please don't do this. I know how you feel. I know. But please, she is your niece. She's your sister's only daughter. You know I got mad respect and love for you, dog. Just let her go, man. This ain't you. This ain't you." I was so surprised when my uncle let Trianne go. It was like the words that Waleed was saying pierced straight through the anger my uncle had and tapped into his soul and got him back on track. Trianne fell to the floor like a bag of dirty laundry. She was rubbing her throat and trying to catch her breath. I bet she was. My mom ran over and tried to console her. Then she yelled at my uncle, "Fuck you, Joey. Fuck you. Don't touch my baby. You don't ever touch her. I'll never forgive you." He turned his anger right back on my mom and said, "You worrying about her, Tree? Who's gonna be worried about your ass? Because if you ever do this bullshit that you just did again, bitch, I'll kill your ass." My grandmother walked over and said, Joe, leave now. My uncle said, I'm leaving, mama, but I ain't playing. I'll take these motherfuckers out. Waleed, man, I'm a go dog, but take care of my son. Promise me, man. Promise me. They got me fucked up. The next time somebody put their hands on him, I'm up in here, I'm going to run up through here like diarrhea. This whole motherfucker going to be shitty. Oh, Lord. Excuse me. Waleed said, Joe, man, I got it. We all family, and we love you, man. Know that. We know, you know we love you, and I know you love us too. At that moment, my mom screamed, Get out, Joe! Get the fuck out of my house! My uncle hung his head and stomped to the door. He still had his fist balled up. When my uncle goes off, it is just downright creepy. That's why everybody usually tries to avoid it. But it is very hard to calm him down. Waleed walked over and knelt down and grabbed my grandma's hand and said, Mrs. Baloo, can you please take care of Tree and Tree Ann? And I'll go see about baby boy. My grandmother said, Thank you, baby. That's a great idea. And let's hurry up. We're going to be late as hell. Waleed nodded and said, Yes, ma'am. Waleed stood up, walked over and grabbed my hand and walked me up to my room. He shut the door behind us, and then he helped me to take off the now demolished shirt and tie. He was growling, standing behind me, saying, This shit's gotta stop. I ain't gonna have it. Look at this shit. What the fuck? He leaned over and kissed me on the back of my neck and said, Stay right here, Boo Bear. Don't move. I said, Okay. He ran out the door and down the hallway. I heard him telling my grandma to go ahead and head out to the funeral home. He told her I had a deep gash in my back that I was probably going to need stitches. So he was going to take me over to the emergency room. I heard my grandma say, God bless you, Waleed. What would we do without you? Child, I can't stand this. I got one grandbaby laying in the casket and one on the way to the hospital. What you gonna do now, Lord? I can't take this. I was making my way to the mirror on the back of my door. I didn't even realize I was bleeding. I felt the stinging, but I didn't realize there was blood too. As I looked, it was pretty bad. There was blood all over my pants and everything. It was just a damn mess. As I looked in disgust, I heard my mom telling Waleed, I want you with me. He can wait. To which Waleed replied, Teresa, you can't be serious. That is your baby. He is your youngest child. She said, Fuck him. They killed the wrong one. He's the one that I could have done without. I'm sick of this shit. I'm tired of pretending. I hate him. I hate him. I really do. And fuck you, Waleed. You can stay here with him, and the both of you can go to hell. My son is laying in a coffin, and you can take that freak anywhere you want to. I'm fucking leaving. I felt like a little bit of me died in that moment. Next, I heard my grandmother say, Teresa Baloo, you do not mean that, and you know it. My mom replied, Mama, I really do. I really do mean it. I'm tired of people whispering about me and him and how he is. Trianne is right. It is just embarrassing. At that moment, I heard Waleed say, You have got to be fucking kidding me. What the hell are you saying? No one throws their child away because they're not perfect in their eyes. In God's eyes, he's perfect, Teresa. He is exactly how God intended him to be. You need to stop this bullshit. I could hear him climbing the steps and coming toward my room. My feet were planted like they had been cemented in place. I had a completely blank stare. I just felt so empty. It is one thing to think that she had some issues with my sexuality, but to know that she does and felt as strongly as she did pierced me to my soul and left me numb. Waleed walked through the door and stopped. He said, "Oh God, tell me you did it." I said, "Yes, Waleed, I did. I heard every word. And I don't care. Are you leaving with them, or are you going to take me so that I can get my back together?" He replied, "Huh? Quit playing. I'm not going anywhere with them. I told you. I got you. And I'm so sorry about all that, T. I'm going to fix this. I promise you. I'm going to fix it." As he gathered white towels to place on my back, as I told him, "This is your time to step back, Waleed. You can't fix this. And I don't need it fixed. I am done with it." With a puzzled look on his face, Waleed said, "What do you mean, baby? How can you be done with it? This is your family we're talking about." I turned and looked him straight in the eye and said, "You call that family?" I didn't speak another word all the way to the emergency room. While Waleed kept speaking about the importance of family and that this is all agree speaking, after the first 10 or so minutes, I tuned him out. As we pulled into the hospital's parking area, I released my seatbelt and reached over to let myself out of Waleed's SUV. He grabbed my arm and said, "Did you hear anything that I've said, Topaz?" I looked at him and said very smugly, "Sure I did, Waleed. Did you hear me ignoring you?" I could tell he didn't know whether he should be mad at that comment or not. I said, "Thank you for bringing me. It won't be necessary for you to stay. I'm okay. I'll see you back at home. You need to go to the funeral home and be with my mother and her dead son." Waleed got out of the truck and said, "Are all of you going crazy tonight?" I said, "Absolutely not. I'm just playing catch up." I proceeded across the parking lot and into the entrance. I heard Waleed's cell phone ring and he said, "Go ahead, T. It's my mom. I'll be right in." I didn't even turn around or respond. 3 hours and 7 stitches later, I was ready to be released. Waleed was sitting right there in the waiting area with his arms crossed as he dozed off. I stood in front of him and cleared my throat. And he opened his eyes and said, "Is everything okay?" I said, "Everything is fantastic. And since you didn't leave, would you mind giving me a ride home?" He looked at me and said, "Stop it. What is this? You scaring me. It's like I did something to you and all I did was try to protect you, T." I tilted my head slightly to the right and said, "I know, Boo Bell. And I thank you for that. And I would really like to go home now if that's okay with you." I started to, and Waleed followed, shaking his head in confusion. He offered to help me get in the truck. I said, "That won't be necessary. I can handle it. I can handle all of this. Thank you, Mr. Jesper. You're such a gentleman." He got into the driver's seat and said, "I don't know what the hell went on back at that emergency room, but you scaring me, Topaz. Talk to me. Baby, you can tell me whatever is on your mind. I told you. I got you. But you got to trust me." I replied with another slight head tilt. "I do trust you, and you have no reason to be alarmed. You said that you've got me, and I hope you don't prove yourself to be a liar. But we'll see. Now, won't we?" He started the truck and we headed for home. It was a complete quiet ride, and I could tell he was a little nervous about what was to come. As we pulled up to the house, I could see all the cars of family and friends around our place. The house was packed again. Waleed turned the car off and said to me, "Let me go in first and see what's going on, baby. And then I'll come back and get you. It'll take just a few seconds, boo. I promise." I sat up straight, turned my head to him and said, "Mr. Jesper, that won't be necessary. I live here too, remember?" I got out of the SUV and proceeded across the walkway and up the front steps to the porch. Waleed was walking quickly behind me saying, "T, wait. Just wait a minute." I ignored him and kept it moving. I opened the door and the room felt silent upon the sight of me. My grandmother said, "How you feeling, baby?" I looked at her and tilted my head to the right and said, "Thank you for asking, Mrs. Baloo. I've never felt better." I walked straight into the kitchen where my mom and Trianne were sitting at the kitchen table amongst another 15 people who were standing and sitting around. They both had smug looks on their faces. You could tell there was no remorse for any of the actions that had transpired earlier. I reached into the fridge to grab a bottle of water and said, "Everyone, thanks for coming by, and I will see you all at the funeral tomorrow morning. Good night, all." And with a tilt of my head, I walked toward the kitchen doorway, which was being blocked by Waleed's body. I stopped and said, "Mr. Jesper." I looked at him and the puzzled look on his face. He slid out of the way so I could get by, and I said, "Thank you, sir." As I proceeded down the hallway and up the steps toward my bedroom, as I was moving, I could hear the whispers. What the hell was that? What is this head thing about? I said to myself, "Patience, grasshoppers. You will all understand soon enough." I locked my bedroom door behind me. I sat on my bed for a minute. I was so tired and my body was really sore. I went into my bathroom and showered and changed my bandages on my back. What a pain that was. I then laid across my bed naked and told myself, I'll get some pajamas on in a second. The next thing I knew, I was being awakened by a light knock on my bedroom door. I looked at the clock and it was 3:30 a.m. I walked over to the door and said, "Yes." A whisper came from the hallway. "It's me, T. Please, open the door." I started over towards my dresser to get something to put on, and then I thought about it, and went back over to the door and said, "What, Waleed?" He said, "Please, T." I cracked the door just enough that he could see my face, and he said, "Can I please come in?" I opened the door and said, "Come on." He looked me over and said, "What are you doing in here?" I said, "What difference does it make? Are you coming in or not?" He came in and I locked the door behind him. He said, "No, T, seriously. What are you doing? You never walk around naked." I said, "Well, things change." As his stare was locked on me, he sat on the edge of my bed. He had his normal bed clothes on, pajama bottoms and a tank top. I walked over to the bed and said, "Now, here we go. You woke me up at damn near 4 in the morning. What do you want, Waleed?" He said, "I want to talk to you." I walked over and reached my hand down between his legs and said, "Your body doesn't seem to want to do any talking, and neither do I. I'm all talked out." I proceeded to climb into his lap and stuck my tongue into his ear. Moments later, we were both naked and going at it. When the deed was done, we both got into my shower and got cleaned up. Child, at the mama house. He helped me to change my bandages, and then he softly kissed my back and said, "I'm sorry, love. I never want to see you hurt like this again. It's driving me crazy." I kissed him on his lips and said, "I know, but I'm okay. Trust me." I took his hand and led him toward the door and said, "Back to your quarters, Mr. Jesper. Topaz needs rest. Tomorrow is a very busy day." As I stood behind him, I reached around him and rubbed his belly button as I placed one soft kiss on the middle of his back. I then softly pushed him into the hallway and closed and locked my door. He whispered, "I love you, T." I replied, "I know you do." The morning came so quickly. I got up and began to get dressed. I was a little anxious for the day. What would today be like? I finished getting dressed and took a look in the mirror and said, "Boring." I was in a black suit, white shirt, and a black tie. When I got to the bottom of the steps, everyone seemed so relieved that there were no antics about what I was wearing. I made my way out to the family limousine thinking to myself, how shallow and useless are these bastards. Family? Yeah, right. Everything went really smoothly getting to the church. I was pretty quiet the whole ride over to the church. I didn't speak a word to my mom or Trianne. As we were getting ready to get out of the limousine at the church, Waleed said, "Baby boy, you feeling okay?" I looked up at him and gave him and gave a shady glance to Trian and my mom and said, "Of course, I've never felt better." We got out of the vehicle and made our way into the church. The sanctuary was overrun with people. My whole family was led by the ushers up to the first few pews to be seated. Very early into the proceedings, Trian was getting started with her breakdowns. The wailing was pretty low, and the more we went on, the louder it became. At first, I thought it was authentic, but as we moved forward, you could tell she was really raising the bar. Once we got to the point in the ceremony that the immediate family members got the chance to say a few words about Edward, I could feel my stomach drop. One after another, the members of the family said nice things about my brother and really painted him as the absolute picture of a saint. As it went on, I started to get irritated. I just thought about how I've been so ridiculed for being gay and not bothering anyone. And here we are in a packed house telling stories about an undeniable drug dealer and gangbanger. Are you kidding me? I could feel the evil churning in my core. Next up was Trian. I thought to myself, and now the drama begins. And scene. We're going to take a quick break. Do not leave. Don't go nowhere. I'm going to let you know what we're doing. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. Relax, kick up your feet as we get into this week's read. Tonight we'll be reading Loving Topaz, a novella by James Colwell. Head on over to Amazon.com and download your books today. Come and support our authors. But we're going to get into this book. Loving Topaz. Tell a friend to tell a friend and then tell their friends. We over here reading, y'all. But let's get into this book. Are you ready? Shh. We're back. Let's continue with the read. Next up was Trian. I thought to myself, and now the drama begins. My sister approached the pulpit in her black long dress, boobs pushed to the ceiling and blonde weave accentuating her long jet black hair. I have to say she was done. She really did look nice. She had on a pair of 5-inch heels similar to the ones that she left this gash in my back with last night. She made it up to the microphone with the help of Waleed, who was the perfect gentleman. Child. She was kind of hanging all over him. He stood back while she spoke, just in case she decided to fall out. We all know her well. She began by saying, "Edward, I miss you so much." She then began down this road of when they were kids and life was so good and how close they remained, and she went on about how she would never feel whole again. She then began screaming and shouting and jumping up and down. All in that, I can assure you. Anytime we went to church, Trian ran up and down the aisles and such. It's just how she gets down. So today, she was really in full concert mode. When I looked up again, her shoes were off and she was pacing back and forth in the pulpit shouting, "Why, Eddie? Why did you have to leave me?" He came over and put his arm. While he came over and put his arm around her, and it was so messy. I could hardly hold in my laughter. Then she walks back to the microphone and says, "Thank y'all for celebrating the life of the king of our family, my brother, Edwin Ballou. There will never be another. It's just you and me, Ed, like it's always been. Just you and me. And now I'm all alone. Oh, God. I can't. I don't know what I'm going to do without my bro. I love you, Ed." While he went to get her down from the pulpit, it was just getting to be too much. I felt the little dig that was thrown by her, like my mom only had them two. But I was like, whatever. She's a mess. But before Trianne left the pulpit, she stood back at the mic and said, "I have one last thing I'd like to say. Mama, thank you for giving me one brother that I loved with all my heart. It's the one thing you did right." Oh my goodness. That was a moment there where I swear you could hear the gas through the church, and then it was followed by complete silence. I almost died laughing. If you could have seen my mother's face, she was in shock. The two of them had been getting along so good lately. They had something in common. They had both been abusing me. Well, that just goes to show there is no honor amongst thieves, and that's just how Trianne is. The only person sacred to her, was now lying in that beautiful box. I didn't care about her denouncing me, and I definitely didn't feel sorry for my mom. I felt like she somewhat deserved it. Lord knows, she had been dishing grief my way all week. What comes around, goes around. By this time, my grandmother had motioned for Waleed to get Trianne out of the pulpit, and he did. One of the mothers of the church took over the service. She began praying and really regained control over the church. Then she motioned me to come up. It was my turn to speak. As I started toward the pulpit, my stomach felt nauseous, but I kept it moving. I stepped behind the microphone, and before I ever got a word to say, Trianne shouted, "Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. Just get down and go away." She was no longer sitting beside my mom. She was a little further down the pew. My mom was crying and looking as though she was in agreement. I just stood there for a moment. The church was quiet. I looked at Waleed sitting next to my mother. He mouthed silently, "Go ahead, baby." I put my head down. Waleed stood up and came to the pulpit. He got behind me and whispered in my ear, "You got this. Say what's on your heart." "Say what's on your heart, love. I got you, no matter what. Remember that." I put my head up and said, "Okay, everyone. Sorry for the slight hold-up. This is really an emotional time for me and my family." I was then interrupted by Trianne's shrieking voice. "Ed didn't like you either. He don't want you saying nothing over him, about him, to him, or nothing. Just go away. We all hate you and don't want you in this family." I seen my Uncle Joe stand up and move toward the pool. I stood still in my spot. I can feel the anger building in my core. I tilted my head slightly to the right, and before I could say a word, I heard Waleed whisper, "No, T, please." I chuckled to myself and thought, he's catching on. Smart man. I then proceeded and said, "I thank you all for stomaching the Trianne show. She hasn't been well groomed, but I'm sure you have picked up on that by now. I wanted to say a few words about my brother who is lying here. Is that so terrible?" Trianne jumped up from her pew and screamed, "Everything about you is terrible, you freak. You need to go somewhere." She looked over at my mother and said, "Why don't you sit your friendly neighborhood fag down somewhere? I'm so sick of this." My mom stood up and said, "Eugene, she's right. We don't want to hear it. Just sit down." My grandmother motioned for Waleed to bring me away from the pulpit. I turned to him and said, "Don't get caught up in that mess because I'm not feeling this today." Waleed stepped back. Uncle Joe said, "I'm going to go off if anyone else says anything to him before he is done. I promise y'all, there won't be another prayer said up in here." I said, "Thanks, Uncle Joe. I love you so much. And folks, I'm sorry for this ridiculous display of foolishness. The only thing I would like to say is, rest in peace, Ed. You are lucky. You don't have to fight for your place anymore. You don't have to fight for anyone to love you. Though you weren't always nice, God forgives, and I know he came and got you. I pray you follow him to the promised land. I don't know how you felt totally about me, but I did love you sincerely. My big brother." At that moment, one tear ran down my cheek as I began to leave the pulpit. Trianne shouted, "He didn't love you, you nasty faggot." She kicked off her shoes and charged directly for me. Before she could get her hands on me, Uncle Joe had jumped in front of me. The force of her charging made him lose his footing, and he and Trianne barreled into the coffin. Woo! It shook fiercely, and with a loud slam, the top closed with incredible force as all of the flowers fell onto the floor. My mom leaped up and screamed, "No! No, no, no!" My uncle had risen to his feet by this time, and Trianne was screaming, "You don't have nothing to do with it, you loser!" You could see Uncle Joe trying to hold it together. Come on, Uncle Joe, hold it together. My grandmother was on her knees on the floor praying and crying. Uncle Joe said, "Trianne, go away, please. I swear to the Almighty, if you say another word to me, I'm going to put some hair on the wall up in here." Waleed grabbed my uncle's arm. "Joe, man, not here. Not here, man." He looked at Waleed and said, "I know, man. I'm out." He started towards the door. By this time, the preacher had gotten to the pulpit and said, "Let's all be seated in the Lord's house." My mom said, "Trianne, what is it going to take before you stop?" Trianne looked at my mom and said, "Shut up. You don't have nothing to say. You can't do nothing right. It's your fault that he's in that coffin. If you had never thrown him out, this would have never happened." Mom said, "Shut your mouth right now, you ungrateful yellow bitch. I've done all I could for all y'all motherfuckers and you still not satisfied? What the fuck do you want from me?" At the funeral, Trianne screamed back, "I don't want nothing from your trick ass, and you're another yellow bitch. And if you keep talking, I swear." She's talking to her mama like this. Mom moved like a bolt of lightning. She was out of her shoes and on Trianne like flies on dog mist. She had Trianne by the hair and was just steadily banging her in the face. "You better get her, mama." Jewelry was flying off everywhere. The quickness of Mom's attack caught Trianne off guard. Trianne outweighs Mom by a lot, but it wasn't helping. Mom's hands were moving like machinery, and she was connecting with every hook and jab. Okay. My grandmother ran in between the two of them, and before she could get order, Trianne had regained her footing, and now she had knocked Mom's hat off and got a death grip in Mom's hair. And with my grandmother in the middle, the tussle toppled over with such force that the three of their bodies literally had knocked the casket completely over onto the church floor. Whee! It was totally on its side, and through a slight opening of the lid, you can see my brother's hand hanging out onto the floor. Woo! I I was mortified at the sight of it. This was just awful. I couldn't move. And as Waleed went to move toward the commotion, his dad had come to the front of the church and grabbed him by the arm and told him, "Son, sometimes you just can't. I won't allow you to be in harm's way under these circumstances." As I seen Waleed being pulled away by Mr. Jesper, I felt a slight tug to my arm. It was Mrs. Jesper. She said, "Sweet baby, you suffered enough. Come with me." I obeyed and followed the Jesper family toward the door as my family scrapped and rolled about on the church floor like animals. As we were going down the church steps, the police were coming up the steps. I just thought to myself, how ridiculous and what a circus. And see, baby, when I tell you they over here fighting down to the church house. They fighting down to the church house. But mama had, listen, if mama had not got up and beat Trianne up, I was going to be highly upset. I was going to be highly upset, okay? Look, my earrings all twisted and turned around like I've been fighting. But this was a mess. This was a whole mess. Oh my God. Yeah, that's it. That is it. Phenomenal. Listen, that was one chapter. That was one chapter. That was over 20 pages long. Oh my God. Well, that was about 20 pages. My God. Listen, down to the church house, Toy Mom. Oh my goodness. I don't want to keep going because chapter 6 is long too. Oh, thank you, Sexy Sky Dog. Baby, listen, I'm going to drop the link to the, like I always do, I'm going to drop the link if anybody want to come up so we can discuss. So we can discuss what happened in chapter 5. Y'all already know it'd be 45-minute read, 15 minutes of us up here talking. Girl, I felt like I had to... Look, I felt like I was dodging the punches. My earrings were just twisted all My earrings were just twisted all around. Oh my goodness. I enjoyed that read thoroughly. When I say thoroughly, when I say thoroughly, that was a good read. That really was. What did you guys think of this chapter? With the mama finally expressing how she really felt about Topaz. Like, seriously. It took for her other son to be killed and for Trianne to act a whole yellow monkey for her to come out and say, you know what? I really do hate my son because he's gay. I thought, I didn't think she was putting on, but she was really putting on how she felt about him, and then it all just came out. But you didn't tell him. You told the rest of the family that you really hated your son, and then your boyfriend go upstairs and sleep with your son. How does that make you feel? When she find out, I need to know, how does that make her feel? Waleed just trying to be super saver. Child, he's trying to save everybody. And the way he was consoling Trianne got my eyes kind of, I'm kind of side-eyeing him about the way he's all, how he hold on to Trianne. Yes, Shantae, honey, that he always run out before you know you need him more. Let me rewind so I can hear the beginning of this, child. I'm in this book after just listening to you for 5 minutes. Yes, Sexy Sky Dog. Come on, you got to get into it. I think the part where the guy opened the door naked was like the beginning of a porno. And you know what? And see, like he said, Topaz never walked around naked like that, So I guess after their first encounter, he was like, oh, well, this what you want? Come and get it. Bump all that talking. Y'all done did enough talking for the day. I done did enough fake hugs and everything like that. Come on, we gonna get into it. And he got into it. A hot mess. These people are dysfunctional. Girl, all the way. Y'all said a yellow monkey because her mama called her the yellow B word. So, yeah. The boyfriend did what now? Shantae, so that mean you ain't been caught up on this read, honey. Mr. Waleed is the boyfriend of the mama. And the boyfriend of the mama been laying down with the son. Okay? And I ain't talking about the prodigal son. I ain't talking about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I'm talking about the son of his girlfriend. Just nasty, girl. Just nasty. Hey, Spilly boy. Listen, you outdid yourself with this one, honey. With this chapter 5. It was long, but it was good. And they down there tussling it down to the... Oh, what would y'all have done had y'all seen this casket tilt over in the church house at the funeral? Like, what really would y'all have done? Because I would have lost my ever-loving mind had I seen my brother land. Oh, it was a hand. Now, it wasn't the whole body. The whole body didn't come out, but that was enough just to bump a casket at a funeral. But y'all fighting. And the mom and them fighting. I can't. Look, Keys met listen, I would have ran too. Okay? I would have been up and out of there. Deuces, bye. I done said my goodbyes. I done said my hellos. I done did all of that stuff. I would have been out of there. There is no way I could have sat there and continued to watch them even fight. But I feel so sorry for the parents of Waleed because they just don't know. They calling him, oh, come on, sweet baby. They don't even know that your son been sleeping with her son. And you calling him sweet baby. Now you bringing the boy back to y'all house. Oh, I can't. Look, Gail, you would have laughed at the casket being tipped over, girl. There are some W words in this book. What that mean? Probably got run over by a car running. Girl, listen. Your heart and your stomach. Yeah, Waleed ain't. You say you ain't fighting nobody's funeral? Baby, I mean, I would hope not, but you know nowadays, baby, it's so ratchet. A funeral ain't a funeral no more. People don't go to funerals with all black on no more. You know, they wear their Chuck Taylors or they tennis shoes, baby. They wear t-shirts and little shorts and everything else like that. It ain't no respect at a funeral no more, clearly. But Trianne got what she deserved. Because they beat up Topaz and then turned around and now they had to beat each other up. Baby, well, when she told her mama to, it's some horse. You would have ran manly child hush phenomenal. But she got what she deserved. Because there's no way you going to talk to your mama like that and not nothing be done. So mama, baby, when mama ran down on her, ran off on the plug twice. Baby, she took off like 90 going north, honey. So if I found out the boyfriend... Listen, Keisha. So you with me. Keisha, I've been thinking this the whole time. I'm thinking this the whole time because he consoling the mama. He consoling the son. And now the daughter. And then the uncle. I ain't even going to put it past Uncle Joe. I don't care how masculine Uncle Joe is. I don't care how many F words he dropped. Because I feel like when he whispered in Uncle Joe's ear, hold on, let me get this. He said, come on, Joe. No, Joe, don't do that. Come on, baby, not here. We love you. We family. Let her go. And Uncle Joe let her go. Uncle Joe ain't think twice. Waleed just whispered sweet nothings in Uncle Joe's ear. And Uncle Joe let her go. He let her go. And then they down to the funeral house. And all he said was, nah, Joe. Not here, man. And then Uncle Joe said, I know. I'm out. Come on now. Y'all can't tell me he probably was Uncle Joe. And look, I knew Angela was up there in the clouds, child. Look, yes, the boyfriend might got along. That don't even matter. But the fact that the whole family is getting it. Oh, I can't wait to get to the next chapter. Y'all make me almost want to start reading again, but I ain't gonna do it. I'm gonna make y'all wait till next week. I'll be the one in the middle of breaking ish up. Probably would have ended up coincidentally bopping Trianne in the head and a few shots to the mama head and what look. So you windmilling, Louie. You windmilling. Oh my God, his pimp hand is strong. I'm talking about real strong. Uncle Joe liked him. I think so too. Listen, I think Uncle Joe got an affinity for Waleed, but all of them do. Y'all know Waleed. What he say? He tall. He got dreads. Y'all. He chocolate, baby. He walk around with gray sweatpants on and a tank top all day. I can't. I can't. The boyfriend better not have AIDS. I need to know if this is going to be a sad book, girl. Like the last part of Between Pews. Ooh wee, girl, he everybody man. That's community pain, Sugarfoot. That's community pain. The whole family gonna get it. Where the cousins at? Where little Mike at? That was there in the beginning. That's Topaz friend. Where little JJ at? Was JJ at the funeral? JJ should have been at the funeral, or Mike, one of them. Somebody should have been there. But yeah. Baby, when I tell you, I'm so ready for next week. I'm so ready. You know it's a twist at the end. You know it's gonna be a twist. It's gonna be a twist, but that's yeah. Ooh. Anyways, look, I'm so outdone. I hope y'all enjoyed this read. A few church announcements. What you say? That man's yes, that's the man thought. Gray sweatpants. Come on, Keisha. I would have been there laughing at all of them. They nasty. But Miguel, would you have been laughing if the casket would have fell over with the body, girl? Tell me you would have been there laughing or you would have been crying. Baby, I would have been asleep. Okay? Cause you not expecting that at no funeral for the casket to be knocked over. I'm talking about the flowers gone and everything. Oh, she said she would have been in there laughing, girl. You would have tickled my funny bone. Girl, you would have tickled my funny bone. You at work getting your whole life listening. Whew. Listen. Well, a few church announcements, honey. Since you made it all the way to the end of the video right now, if you have not subscribed to Almond Brown 09, why? Why not? Subscribe, honey. Press that notification bell so you can get all my notifications when I upload, when I go live. We have our reading every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 45 minutes to an hour reading, and I spend my time talking with my Almond Delights. While I'm giving my church announcements, please do like Angela did and drop your chocolate and your sun emojis in the chat. If you can't find a chocolate or a sun emoji, go ahead and put a heart in the chat. That is showing love and light to everyone that is here and everyone that will catch the replay. If you on Instagram, go follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/almondbrown09. If you are just getting here, you can go back and catch the replay, or you can go over to my podcast, anchor.fm/almondbrown09, and you can catch the replay of this on the podcast, as well as all of the other reads that I have done for this book, as well as James' other two books that I've read, Between Pews and Boys Like Me. I've also read Uncle Timothy Blaine's book, The Epiphany, which is also over on my podcast. Shadia is dropping the link in the chat for the podcast. Y'all can go over there and follow my podcast. It's free to listen. But if you would like to spend a pledge a monthly love offering, you can do so. 99 cents, $4.99, $9.99, whichever one you want to pledge. It's appreciated but not required. I just love y'all following me and subscribing to my podcast. Thank you to the ones that have been over there listening. If you are an author, or if you know an author that and you would like your book read here at the Almond Delights Reading Corner, please email me at almondbrown09@gmail.com, and we can get the correspondence going. So I can read your book here. And I still have not got my P.O. box number. I'm going to try to get that this week for you guys. That way, if you're an author and you wanted to send a book, you can do so by sending it to my P.O. box. Whew, child, but listen, I'm ready. But we will be reading all the series of this book, Loving Topaz, Learning Topaz, and Losing Topaz. So if you guys want, the link to this book is down in the description box below under this video. Make sure you like the video now. Share the video if you can, if you're a content creator. If you can share it out, you can share the link, text message, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you can share it. Go ahead and share it to let everybody know what we're doing over here at the Almond Delights Reading Corner. You can get this book at Amazon.com. It's $14.95 for the hard copy, and it's free if you have Kindle Unlimited. You can get a free download on Kindle. But yes, I really enjoyed you guys tonight. You know, I'm sorry for last week, but you know, honey, a sister girl had to life, baby, life. Y'all please tell Mr. Spillet Boy, James, thank you very much for allowing us to read your books once more and again. You outdid yourself with this chapter. I can tell you, I was not expecting that, but I'm glad that you made it to where the mama had to beat the daughter up. Okay? I'm excited about that. I was swinging for her. Because ain't nowhere in the world you're going to tell your mama to shut up and tell her that she did everything wrong. There's no way. And then not get your head knocked off? Okay, I don't care if it is a book. Baby, you better beat your daughter up. Okay, you better beat your daughter up. And Topaz did right. Now, how y'all feel about that? Now, of course, he's a guy. And his mama was just tearing him up, beating him up for no reason. Like, I really want to know, would y'all have fought your mama back? I really want to know. If you would have hit your mama back, press 1. And be honest. If you would have hit your mama back, press 1. If you wouldn't have hit your mama back, press 2. I just want to know what y'all think. Where y'all heads at. I'm just gonna tell you right now, it ain't no right or wrong answer, because we all say, well, we don't know. Don't never say never. You never know what's gonna happen in the heat of the moment. And if you would have hit your mama back, I ain't judging you. If you would have put a 1 in the chat, I ain't judging you. That ain't my place. I'm just asking. If you would have hit your mama back and she would have been beating you up and trying to kill you, because she said she was going to take him out of there. She hated him. She couldn't stand him. 2, everybody say they wouldn't hit their mama. I know, because I would listen. My mama ain't been here 21 years, and I still be like, ooh, I wouldn't have did that around her. I wouldn't have said that. I still be saying storying instead of saying somebody lying. I would have said story. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I was just like, ooh, Trianne. Thought she was going to get away. But you didn't, because your mama beat you up. But let me go. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Thank y'all for listening. But I'm going to see y'all back here next week. 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back here once more again for another read of Loving Topaz. Tomorrow night, 9:30-ish, we will have our old nasty piece of trivia night, honey. We'll have that tomorrow night. We do trivia here on the channel. Everybody come, have a good time. But I love you guys. I'll talk to y'all later. I love you with the love of God. And there is what? Nothing you can do about it. I'll talk to y'all later, child. Woo. Bye, y'all. Thank you all for joining another episode of Almond Delights Reading Corner. I pray that you enjoyed yourself and you're relaxing your mind, in your body, and in your spirit. Come back and join us again next week as we continue our reading. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Be blessed and enjoy your evening.